So, how are you feeling today?
Better than last time. I feel like I'm on a steady incline.
Okay. What do you mean by steady incline? What's going on this week that you feel is different from the
So,
last couple weeks for you?
the last couple weeks I counted more days of the week where I was really down and wasn't interested in doing stuff that I usually like to do. But this week I kind of felt like I could dedicate more of me to the stuff that I like to do and without feeling guilty about it. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't always happen like that.
Okay. So, what is it like for you when it doesn't happen, where you feel like you're able to do the things uh, that you're able to accomplish, even with some negative feelings going on?
So usually when I do get to do something I like today I did a lot of cleaning and I felt really good about it because I looked back and I got to see the progress of the stuff that I did. With that I got to immerse myself and it felt like a relief from all the stuff that I had going on. But then when I finish and I don't have something to do, that's when the sadness just kind of comes back and I just feel like I'm slowly dipping. And I catch myself, I notice it, I know it's there, but that doesn't mean that I can't stop it. It's there.
And when the sadness catches you, would you mind running me through what thoughts you go through or what your process is?
What if I'm not there for the people who need me? Um, do I deserve to be selfish and do things for myself when I know other people need me? Am I being observant enough for when other people need me? Am I taking the hints?
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, just so we can make sure it's extra clear, you're concerned about your ability to be there for others and the value that that holds for you right now.
Definitely. I would say that being there for people is really valuable to me.
Okay. Um, and how would you describe your actions versus your thoughts in relation to those feelings and what you've been doing recently? How you're managing your feelings and what's going through your mind with everything that you're worried about, and then
I
the
think
actions that take place. What's your
so. It's
process?
kind of like a chronology because once the feeling hits, that's when the thoughts start. And I notice the feeling, but thoughts, they're not as easy to catch because they feel very real and they feel like they have good reason for being there. I can come up with an explanation for why I feel those things and why I think the way I think. Because in the moment, it makes a lot of sense. It's logical. And I should be worried about those things. And then you said actions?
Yeah, like how are you?
What do I do about it?
How are your actions similar or different from your thoughts? How are you? Are you breaking any patterns where you would focus on the sad thoughts more, and where you break patterns away from those thoughts through your actions, or vice versa?
So I haven't noticed that I can jump out of it yet. Once the thoughts start, I guess I just get stuck there. Sometimes it doesn't change what I have to do. If I have a bill to pay or something, it's not like I'm falling behind. It's just stuff that's not an obligation to me. That's what's not getting done.
Okay, and it's okay to have different priorities. That's all part of being mindful of what your needs are at the moment. Um, are you being generous with yourself as well, like when you're not doing everything that you would normally be doing?
No, definitely not. It makes me feel like I'm failing in some way, but I can never figure out what way that is.
Is there maybe other ways that you can frame those thoughts instead of saying that you're failing? What are other ways that you would positively describe what you're doing?
Like what?
Um, so when you're saying that a thing that you're doing is considered failing, um, what's a way that you can take everything else that you're doing, the good things that you're doing, and reframe the things that you feel bad about not doing or the things that you feel that you fall short with? How can you, is there a way that you like to describe those concerns that you have and try to put a positive spin on it from the good things that you're doing and the things that you are following through with.
So kind of like just paying more attention to the good stuff. Like, I know it's there.
So recognizing the good things and not focusing on the bad things necessarily. You can say it's the sum as opposed to the individual parts. Because like you can have 5 good things and 1 bad thing, but it might depend. If you're focusing on the bad thing, you have 4 other good things going on that you did, and you can always pick it up again later.
That makes a lot of sense. So I'll always have something that I can be good at, even when it seems like other stuff isn't going right.
Well, we all unfortunately have the condition of being human.
You're right. You're right. So you're saying that if I give myself credit just for being human, it might make me feel better just by thinking about it.
Possibly. It's being very generous with yourself, and if you're having how would you describe a bad day for you?
Being really hard on myself. Definitely not giving myself credit for being human, but constantly like realizing the things that, like you said, that I haven't done, and feeling like those things outnumber the good, and then I get worried, and then it's kind of a circle, isn't it?
It can be.
Okay. Then yeah, I fall into the circle, and then I feel bad about myself, and then I feel like I didn't use the day to its full potential.
And then in those moments, are there maybe ways that you can think about being more generous towards yourself and saying, well, I don't know, I did the dishes today when I didn't feel like doing anything. That's +1.
Yeah, I could count that.
And
that means that there's a lot of things that I can count, though.
Exactly. When you don't feel like doing anything and you do anything, that's +1. And it's perfectly normal to have a day that you're just like you just want to exist.
Okay. So if I count up even the tiniest little things, that's giving myself credit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what are the little victories that you can give yourself in a day when maybe it seems like there's not much that you've done? Like, what are the things that you can give yourself credit for that maybe not everyone does every day anyway?
Being present is one of them. Because, like...
How would you describe being present? Just so we have that perfectly clear.
Just existing in the moment, and maybe, even if it's only sometimes, when I do catch myself, like count up the times that I'm not worrying about what hasn't happened yet or what I haven't done tomorrow, and I can count each of those as 1. So that means I'm going to have a lot. Exactly. I don't know if that's a good thing. No,
that makes a lot of sense. And then, is there ways to maybe use that same strategy on days that you're not feeling necessarily so well? And
I might have to write it down for myself.
So are you like a physical reminder person when it comes to that sort of thing?
I'm a sticky note girl. Yeah, big time.
So keep those sticky notes nearby, and if anything, keep those prompts on sticky notes for yourself beforehand.
Okay, I can do that.
Because that might help too, just to like have some of the work done for you. Like you can thank your past self for
and then that's something that I did do. So
exactly,
it's kind of like when I write it down on a sticky, I'm like holding myself accountable.
I like to think so.
That's actually really cool.
That's why we use paper too.
Nice. You're right.
And it's important that you give yourself credit. You know, it's for some people just getting out of bed is the challenge, and you know what, just doing that and walking the dog it's a day, and that's fine.
So I can give myself credit for that stuff, like that everything counts basically.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. It's gonna be a lot of tallies. I might need a bigger sticky note.
You're gonna need a bigger sticky note.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course. Um, and so, what are ways that you think, other than the sticky note, that you think you could practically apply these sort of things?
I feel like I have to practice, honestly, because it's going to be really hard to stop the thoughts. That's going to be the hardest part. Like, I notice the feeling. I can step back and say that, like, I feel the sad. I know what the sad is. And I can kind of, like, call it out. But as far as, like, the individual thoughts, I have to figure out, like, how to stop myself from, like, making that explanation that it's, like, legitimate, it's real. And I think you called it, like, invasive thoughts or intrusive thoughts.
I don't think I actually used those words, but if I did, sure.
Maybe it was another time. But you had said, like, the ones that just kind of show up uninvited.
That's a good way to describe them, for sure.
Those are the ones that I have a really hard time figuring out, like, okay, is this legitimate, is this logical, or is this something that, like, I still have to figure out and, like, work on?
And all the same, I think those are things that you're experiencing them, so the whole experience is legitimate, but it's just not necessarily true.
Yeah, that's
like,
what I meant.
And we're just clarifying that way.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's about figuring out, like, which ones are being honest with me and which ones are just there to, like, haunt me, kind of.
And honestly, you can just always be honest with yourself without being hurtful to yourself.
Yeah.
Those are two different sentiments completely.
Yeah, you're right.
And so especially if you, since you're a sticky note girl, what are are there any spaces where you particularly have those feelings, where, like, any spaces in your house or apartment where you're, like, experiencing those sensations of needing to do more often? Is it your home office? Is it
Definitely the home office. Like, when I'm feeling constrained or, like, my hours are sporadic, there's not always a lot of time in between to, like, accomplish the big things that, like, need to get done. And so I feel like I'm failing, or, again, like, the whole spiral of, did I really organize my time wisely? Am I being, like, responsible with the time that I have off versus on the clock? You see where this is kind of,
Yeah.
It kind of just goes in a circle like that. And it all sounds legitimate, like, maybe I could restructure. But that's, like, the part, like you said, where I have to figure out, like, how true that is. And some of it could be. And I think that's why I have such a problem, like, stopping it. Because, like, there is a ring of kind of truth to that stuff.
Well, it might just be helpful to have, so if you have sticky notes in a color that you like, in any of the spaces, like, it could be, well, you said your home office, but let's include some other spaces. Maybe if you're feeling bad because you have to rush out, and it's, like, right by the door, you can have a sticky note that's just, like, a reminder to do something to break your pattern.
Okay.
Like, have it in the spaces where you're stressed out, where you find yourself maybe where you would previously default to those things more often.
Definitely in my kitchen.
Kitchen?
That lunch break does not make me happy.
For sure.
Okay.
How does the lunch break make you not happy, though?
Well, I mean, I think this is partially the pandemic's fault. Sorry, not sorry. But when I'm home and I only have an hour to eat, I can't clean my office. I can't function in other ways, because it's like, okay, prep food, take care of stuff that's, like, menial, and I can't devote, like, the other 45 minutes because I take more time to eat. I give myself that privilege, because, like, there's no filter when you're in your house working. It's a little different, that
so
last 45 minutes.
So you give yourself that privilege?
Not intentionally. I like to cook.
But
that part I'm not, like, mad at myself about, though, because, like, I'm only mad at myself in hindsight. It's like, damn, you could have used that hour for X, Y, and Z. But I really like the pasta that I made. So, like, there is a balance with that particular example. But, like, the hindsight is like, wow, why didn't you just eat the leftovers? Like, why didn't you just take care of that thing outside? Or, like, it's like criticizing myself for stuff that did or failed to happen.
No.
It's a habit. I understand I have to break it.
It makes a lot of sense. Well, it sounds like you have some strategies there that you can use.